enveloped them both in pleasing nostalgia. "Here's a nice one of your father, just before we got married," she said. And there was the old doctor, miraculously recognizable in the eager young man leaning against the sundial, unprescient of the death that would leave his wife and son locked in their bitter, incessant strife. "Oh, and here's the old house," said Hilary, taking the album from her. And now the latent resentments began to stir. The irrational anger that his mother would not play the part he assigned to her, the dignified widow in the Queen Anne house by the cathedral close, but chose instead the bridge parties and the brittle gossip of the London suburb. But this evening, Mrs. Wainwright, instead of matching his instinctive hostility with her own, took the album from him and turned back the pages. "Look," she said, "do you remember that holiday at Cliftonville?" And there was Hilary at 5, neat grey shorts and jacket, neat brown shoes and tidy socks, round grey felt hat pulled over wide laughing eyes, and a cheerful, confident grin. His mother shot a quick sidelong glance at him and then murmured, "I wonder if little John looks like that." "Yes, I wonder," said Hilary, wondering with all his heart, and his mother said tentatively, "I do hope this horrible war will soon be over, so that you can go and bring him home." Hilary tested the moment. Is it possible, he asked himself, that I was right to come after all? Is it possible that the years of angry misunderstanding could be erased, that she could give me now and forever the comfort I so desperately need? Perhaps if I could only begin to tell her how much I long for my son, he was thinking. And then they heard the doorbell ring. "Who can that be?" said Mrs. Wainwright irritably. And Hilary said, "Annie's out, isn't she? I'll go." And he got up and went to the front door. The man who stood there was a stranger. He wore a shabby raincoat belted tightly round the waist, and a knitted scarf wound tightly round his neck. He was about the same age as Hilary, and like Hilary, tall and thin but fair, and with bright blue, very tired eyes. When Hilary opened the door, he made a quick movement forward, almost as if he were going to stick his foot hurriedly in the opening, as if he were accustomed to forcing his way through doors that were shut again at the sight of him, though Hilary, realizing this, thought in the same second that it was those who tried to shut him out who would be in the wrong. Because of this, he opened the front door wider and waited. "Vous êtes Hilary Wainwright?" said the stranger. And at Hilary's surprise, he continued quickly and very quietly in French, "If you are alone, may I come in and talk to you? It is important, or I would not intrude." But now, despite his instinctive liking for the stranger, Hilary must be cautious. His job was genuinely secret and important. He said, "Can you tell me something about your business? I'm really on leave, you know." The Frenchman smiled, relaxing surprisingly the tired vigilance of his face. He said, "Your address was got for me by Brigadier X," and he mentioned the name of Hilary's brigadier. Then he added, "You remember Jeanne? I was Jeanne's fiancé." Hilary started, and suddenly, uncontrollably, shivered. Unthinkingly, he had been convinced that the arrival of this Frenchman was in some way connected with his work, and the mention of his brigadier had confirmed him in this surmise. Now, though no credential had been given that could justifiably excuse him if he were wrong, he trusted this man. "Come in," he said, and his mother called from the sitting room, "Who is it, Hilary?" He left the stranger in the hall and went hurriedly to the door. "It's someone from my unit come to see me on business," he said. "May I take him into the dining room?" "Oh, dear," said Mrs. Wainwright. "Can't they even leave you alone over Christmas?" "Yes, I suppose you can use the dining room. It's been tidied." He closed the sitting-room door and led the stranger past it into the dining room. "Take off your coat," he said. "I'll get a drink." And he opened the sideboard cupboard and took out a bottle of beer and 2 glasses. The Frenchman took off his coat and scarf and almost fell into the armchair at the head of the table. The skin over his face was tight with exhaustion, and as they talked in French, his eyes kept falling shut and then opening too wide.